So, how do a company know that you are lying on your resume? Is it possible? Is it ways that, hey, I can ensure that if I lie on my resume, uh, am I going to get caught? What are the risks? What are the pros and cons? Should I do it or should I not? All of these are valid questions. I want to give you guys context in this video to make sure you make the right decisions once you start to apply for jobs and really put yourself in a position to get that first development job, or if you're an unhappy developer, get you a better programming job in a way that you're going to be comfortable with. I got 3 things in this video I'm going to cover for you guys to ensure that you get the right job. Let's get into the details and I'll explain. All right, guys, let's talk about the interview process and your resume. Your resume tells a lot about you, your experience, and your journey to be a software developer or an aspiring software developer. So based off the education and the projects and your experience, it tends to have a certain flow, and depending on your experience level, tend to tell a story about you. If this doesn't make sense and you start to make things up, that's when it's gonna question, the hiring manager gonna question, is this real or no? And then once you get into the interview, you're really gonna start to pan out. But let's just talk specifically about the resume itself, and then we'll kind of get into the actual details of the interview probably later on in the video. But as a hiring manager sitting here looking at the resume and then asking questions during the interview and it's not making sense and you're not confident in those answers and you can't give thorough answers, it starts to really raise red flags to say, maybe this person is not as valuable as the resume is saying, or it doesn't make sense. Perfect example. Let's just say you are a entry level, let's just say you are fresh out of school developer, right? You're just 23, 24 years old, just graduate. And you go lie on your resume that you got 10 years experience and you go apply for senior level positions. And you craft this resume based off of something you got on ChatGPT with a senior 10-year experienced developer, and you do not know anything about that resume. The minute you get in that interview, it's just not going to make any sense. So you graduated in 2026, but you have 10 years experience and you managed a team of 18 developers. Tell me more about that. It's not going to make logical sense. And you guys, I know that's an extreme version of it, but the point is, it's one thing to, I would say, boost up some of your skill sets and skills on the resume, and we all do that to a certain extent. You want to highlight things and you want to make it look as best as possible. I'm not saying nothing wrong with that, but to go off to really start to I would say exaggerate some of your experience, that's when you start to get in trouble. So you just got to have a balance to make sure that you get your point across, make yourself look the best, but at the same time, don't make yourself look stupid and a liar inside of the actual interview. So guys, let's be honest. Tell me about your experience lying on a resume. Have you did it? Have you don't? Have you ever did it before? Is it something you ever do? Let's start a conversation below and tell me about that so that we can kind of chat and kind of get more insights on what you guys' experience is when it comes to lying on resumes. I'll see you guys in the next day. So like I was saying before, your resume, everybody can get away with just boosting up your resume and probably lying on it. But once you get in that interview, you're really gonna start to stand out. And it's really gonna be very obvious when you are lying on that resume. And I'm gonna let you guys know that it's not a good feeling to be on the other side asking questions and the interviewee, which is yourself, don't have any insights on anything that's on that resume. That's not a good experience for the hiring manager or you as the interviewee as well. So again, anything you put on that resume, you need to be able to speak to in detail. If you're not capable of talking about that in detail, when I say detail, your experience solving problems with that, your experience learning it from a technical perspective, from a business process perspective, from a, hey, pros and cons. You need to be able to speak to anything that you put on that resume. If you can do that, then you feel good actually putting it on a resume. And again, like I was saying, we make ourselves look good. You want to boost that profile up, those skill sets up, make yourself look good as possible. I'm not saying that's not a factor here. I'm just saying be able to speak to anything in detail, elaborately, that's on that resume. If you're not, and they ask you that question, you're gonna look really, really suspect, and things are gonna get really awkward during the rest of that interview. And you ever been on a date where you actually having a good time, they say something stupid, and that's like, this is the last time I actually talk to this person. Once I leave this date, they'll never hear from me again. That's the same in an interview. When they hear something suspect, they'll smile and laugh and things like that, but the minute you leave that building, you'll never hear from them again. So, you just be aware. We're not dumb. We all adults here. We're professional. So let's make sure anything you put on that resume, you're able to speak to. I talk about this in step number 3 in my 7-step guide when it comes to showcasing your value. I can't cover everything in this video, but definitely links below for that free 7-step guide to become a software developer and really master that interview process. And we go into details there. If you already got that 7-step guide, go check out my 90-day developer Launchpad course that we go into details on how to showcase your value and really knock the interview process out the park. And right now we got great rates, guys, so go ahead and check that out. Why rates are great and prices are good, and you can take advantage of that right away and get to that. Make sure you take advantage and have a great interview. So links below to all those goodies. Let's go check that out. Another good indicator that you're lying is you are not able to give any details on things of that resume. I know I kind of hit on that before, but once you start to talk about technical aspects of things and your experience, it starts to really showcase if you know what you're talking about and if you are lying on that resume, because there are certain things that you just can't lie, just can't fake based off of the experiences, hitting the wall when it comes to solving problems technically, dealing with the business, the SDLC, things that specific to an ecosystem, the vendor issues. There's just so much. You cannot fake experience. So that's why I want you guys to be able to speak to what's in that resume, so that when you get into those details, you get into those conversations, even if you don't have direct experience with that particular technology that they are requesting you can talk about a parallel or a similar product. I am a Dynamics 365 developer, and I don't know anything about SAP, HANA, anything, but if somebody asks me, okay, what are your experience and how do you solve problems, I can talk about my Dynamics 365 experience and relate that to what a developer on the SAP side would be able to do. That's very valuable if done correctly, because at least now the client or the hiring manager know, hey, this developer know how to handle themselves. Even in a situation where they don't necessarily have all the answers, they know how to troubleshoot. They know how to problem solve. And once they learn the syntax, which is the easiest part in the equation, they can hit the ground running when it comes to solving problems for me. And I'm the client in this situation. That's very valuable. I'd rather for you to take that approach than actually lie on the resume, because lying reduces trust, or all the trust is gone. We do not want that. So how do you proceed going forward? Don't lie on a resume. It's okay to boost it a little bit. Always be able to speak to what's on that resume. And once you do all that, everything's gonna start making sense for you guys and really put you in a position to win. And I know it's so tempting to just start to over exaggerate, but it's gonna come back to bite you in the end. And you're gonna find yourself on the outside looking in and don't have a software development job. So like, subscribe to the content. If you have any additional questions or feedback, or tell me your side, your experience, comment below. And if you haven't already, go check out my free 7-step guide that's going to help you guys really master the interview process, and also my 90-day developer Launchpad course. We go into detail about that and help you guys be successful. Links are in the description box for all that. Go while we got good rates. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.